Welcome to a new episode of the Founders Chat. I am Alan, and today we have Jon Ortega with us, co-founder and CEO of Wrapper.AI. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here.
A pleasure is mine. So tell me, John, what is Wrapper.AI?
Okay, so Wearables.AI is an AI native company built in and from the Basque Country here in Spain. And what we try to do is drive mass adoption of AI among companies, especially SMBs, so small and medium businesses. We provide some AI agents that are already set up. So the idea is to provide a workspace. So it's AI for companies, not for individuals. Each AI agent has a set of tools, can do several things. So it's not just it's a wrapper because everything we believe it's a wrapper, but it also provides some extra integrations and stuff. And we found that the companies are enjoying it. They are seeing value in this, so it's great.
Okay, so just to understand, it's kind of because people know ChatGPT agent. So
Yeah,
it's similar to the ChatGPT agent, but focusing more on companies' use cases.
not at all. It's more like the GPTs that were not very popular at that time. It's more like those kind of things. Like you provide a set of GPTs that are already built and ready to use. So it's not like a to do thing. It's not like a do it yourself. It's more like it's already done. The companies can also personalize them, but it's just like an agent that has some infrastructure, has some platform behind it. So they're more like GPTs, but well done and organized in a workspace in different folders, kind of different departments for inside their startup.
Okay, so basically, for example, as an employee in a big company, if I work with you, I could have my chatbot, and the chatbot answers questions company specific because it has
Exactly.
the context. Okay,
Exactly. And tailored also to your brand and how you sound in your social media, what's your internal values, your mission. So it's all super personalized in that sense.
okay, and do you target a specific industry or any industry can use wrappers? Yeah.
The idea is to provide something for most industries, but we've started with marketing. So we need just a starting point because it was too general otherwise. So we've started with marketing agencies, which are probably the first ones to adopt AI among different departments inside a company. And we found that it's like a product market fit in there. So they like the different agents that we provide. They use them a lot. And we are now trying to scale to new use cases that we find in sales or different departments.
That's amazing. And you have most of your clients in Spain or in different countries?
In Spain, for now, we are just, well, it's also in Argentina, I think. We've got some of them there, but it's the Spanish speaking countries for now. But that's not a problem. That's not a limitation to scale because just AI can speak every single language in the world. If we want to scale to also English speaking countries, we will with no
Yeah.
problem.
That's the beauty of this AI revolution we are living. You can see companies growing 10x super fast because there are no limitations anymore. So
Yeah,
amazing. All right.
scalability.
And
Yeah,
yeah, no, I want to ask, how long have you been in this journey?
I think we are a year now, so it's been everything super fast. We built the product in record time. It was like 5 6 months. The product was already built, and since then we've been onboarding the first customers. Now we got already plenty of them using the workspace, and also some of them, of course, are also paying customers. So now the challenge in the next few months is to grow, to onboard new companies, also different organization of companies so that we can do it in more mass scale thing. That's it.
Okay, great. And before starting Rappers AI, what were you doing?
I used to work on different projects for it's more like a consulting different projects on ML, AI, both deep learning, supervised and supervised, so technical projects for different companies. They also started asking more like generative AI and automation thing. So we evolved into that. But I wanted more like a product, fast moving environment. So I think this is more like a great fit for that.
That's amazing. So you have a background in AI and technology. So
Yeah.
you're kind of a technical founder. So who are your co-founders?
Yeah. So my co-founders are more like, one is more product related. So it's about features and experience as well. They are more senior than me in that sense. And the other one is more like innovation driven. So it's more like the one that talks to partners as well, who tries to find what's the next milestone for the product. It's more that sense. So yeah, we're quite a hybrid team in general as well. So we kind of share responsibilities.
That's amazing. That those are the best teams when you complement each other.
Yeah, I also share that vision. Yeah.
Yeah. And is there something about your early story that most people don't know?
It's probably that I started university at 16, which is not typical here in Spain. I kind of skipped 1 year in school when I was 6. So I've gone like 1 year ahead every single year of studies. I finished uni at 20, which is also not very typical here. So I would say that's kind of a strange, different thing about me.
So you're a very young founder. Is this your first company?
Yeah, I'm a first time founder in that sense. So, first company. Let's see how it goes.
Cool. And since you started, were there any pivots?
They weren't like big pivots, but we changed a lot of things, both in UX and the onboarding process. I think that has been like the most changed parts of the platform. We try to simplify the onboarding process a lot to remove any entry barriers and stuff, because we found that companies didn't want like a do it yourself perspective agent thing, which are a lot of platforms out there. They prefer to just set some few data about them and try to just get hands-on with the tool. So our onboarding process consists of just two phases right now, which is just onboarding your teammates, your peers, so that we get them to send an invite to them, and we also onboard them in the platform once they get in. And then a second part, which is about the context. So they provide some files about their brand, their mission, their vision, some posts of social media, some their goals for the quarter, and with that, we try to personalize all the agents. So agents already know once they start using them, what are their goals, how do they talk to the customers, what's their style of writing, and all those kind of things.
How is that going? Because I'm thinking about the style of writing because I'm writing in Substack now and I'm speaking with other writers and
Mhm.
everybody's struggling because the AIs never really write like a normal person.
We are close, I think. We are not there yet, but I think we are close. And if you prompt it correctly and you set some examples of some really good posts, which we do, you can achieve something that resembles in some way how we write. It's obviously, and companies know that we are not there yet, but I think this is like useful. If you prompt it correctly, I think you can get useful.
Yeah, and what I experience is that sometimes iterating multiple times and
Yes.
telling, look, this is not it, this is not it, and then you get something better.
Yes, of course. I mean, we also had that conversation at the beginning. Are we asking the agents a final product and delivering the final product, or are we just maintaining that chat-based interface in which we have different terms and we can iterate through the answer and get it fine-tuning our answer, right? And we finally decided to maintain the chat-based interface because we believe that we are not there yet. So in the future, maybe we'll just change that and we will be more like a background service in which you just ask something to AI and AI will deliver it back in a few minutes, a few hours maybe. But for now, we prefer to keep the user in the loop.
Yeah, keep it simple. Yeah, I fully agree. If it's working, why complexify things? So fully
Yeah,
agree.
exactly.
All right. So now let's go to a more personal question. What do you do in a regular day?
Every day is different, I have to say, but I try to organize my day into different blocks. So it's more like a creative block or an operational, more hands on block. And inside each block, it's like different tasks. So I try to organize my day in the night before. So I already wake up and know what I'm going to do. And then it's a lot about keeping up to date. So I invest a lot of my time in looking for different resources, new tools, trying them, integrating them, and then testing if that works or doesn't. That's a lot of my work. And then it's also like coordinating with the team, talking to some customers, seeing if everything works smoothly and correct. It depends on the day, but it's a lot. And I think that's where we provide the most value about choosing the right tools to integrate and knowing what's out there in the market, what's the limitation right now, and finding the latest tools as fast as possible.
So yeah, basically saving time boxes to be creative and to be performing like in operations.
Yeah.
And what about work life balance? Do you have a routine of doing sports? Sometimes this is the anchor for founders, right? Because we work a lot and we need to compensate.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I mean, I do sports, but it's very difficult to disconnect 100%, even when you are training, running, or whatever. And it's like new ideas come to mind when you're running, for example. So you just need to stop, write it down, and then you continue. That happens a lot, for example. But I try to disconnect for at least 2 hours a day and just try to do another things, to stay with friends, family, or stuff. So you can also free your mind for some time, which I think is very needed in these times. And that's one of my biggest challenges, like personally as well, to try to not separate, but find a time where you are just disconnected and you are doing another thing.
Yeah, it's really hard. I have years of practice, and I kind of found a way, but there are periods of time, when you have big problems or you need to iterate fast, or that you do a sprint and like a few weeks maybe, and it's impossible to disconnect. But you're
Well,
probably there.
yeah, yeah. And after those weeks, it's very important. I mean, I can survive those weeks, but I need to take, or I feel I need to take some days off after those few weeks. If that's the case, then I think it's healthy. But you can't stay for a long period of time in that loop.
Fully agree. And have you had any tough moments in this experience?
Probably it was very difficult for us to start because even though we knew, or more or less we had an intuition of what customers needed, because it's what they asked when I was in the consulting company, they were asking for this kind of thing. So I already saw like a pattern of what they wanted. It was very difficult to get the first product MVP working. So it's like we knew what it had to do, but it didn't do it correctly, or users were not interacting with it correctly. We didn't find like a good fit at first. So we had to build a better MVP. So I think that's the concept of MVP has also changed with this AI wave. And now what was previously the minimum is not longer the minimum. So you need to do better to get to
Yeah.
the MVP stage. So that was a good new perspective for us that we didn't expect. And it was difficult for us to understand that and understand that we needed to still build more for a few more weeks, months until we reached a valuable, real,
Yeah.
valid product.
I fully agree. I fall in that trap recently because in the past it was different. It was like the simpler MVP was easier to validate. Now the standards are higher,
Yeah,
but you don't know where is the line because maybe what you're building is just not solving any real problem, and you keep improving it, but then you're wasting time. So where is the line where you need to pivot 180 degrees and do something completely different? So it's really tough. I see a lot of posts now on LinkedIn of people saying, yeah, now getting started got much easier because you can build faster. But the problem is everybody can build faster, right?
exactly.
So the competition is higher. And then also at the same time, the customers are expecting something better. And that's why I think B2C specifically, it got much, 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 much harder because usually the time to value is longer. So you can start monetizing longer in the journey. And now that the standards raised a lot, how long am I going to wait? So
Yeah.
this is it's really tough in some industries.
Yeah, exactly. Like we've raised the bar so much that now customers expect from you a lot more than they did before. They are just used to try tools that work perfectly. So they are not gonna buy you something that works just on some part of it. They just doesn't work at all. So yeah, we felt that it was tough, but once you realize it, you need to just plan it longer and just plan it for more months and more longer period of time.
That's great. And how did you manage? Because you realized that the product was not enough. And what made you keep going? It was because you had customers waiting for a better solution?
We hadn't customers, but we felt that we understood the problem. So once you have understood the problem, even if you don't get a great solution for now, you feel that there's the need in the market. So we had it very well identified since the time that customers came to us and asked for personalized AI that was built for companies, not for individuals. So even if we didn't shoot to the correct point and they didn't find the product valuable yet, we know that we could do better. So customers would also value that new product. It's more like about the problem, not about the product itself. I think that was the key to not give up yet.
Amazing. And now we can jump a little bit into the technical part of things because you're technical. So tell me, anything you could do different now? Anything you over engineered or technical debts? Tell me your experience.
Yeah, we've had a lot of technical debt, I need to say, because we try to build it very fast and we iterate it super fast. In the last few months, we've been like fixing that and trying to just scale it, sorry, more efficiently with features that work and making it all run smoothly and in better running times. So that was a problem at that time. I think it's not so serious anymore. The overengineering thing, that's something that concerns me now that I've done that. So we started with a very, very personalized and super complicated rack system, that's retrieval thing. And we didn't need that. And customers didn't require that at all. We needed just a simple system that would find some different context in the files of the customers, and we didn't need to overcomplicate that so much. So we simplified that. Mm, nobody just complained. Nobody complained about that. So I would say that if I would do it everything again, I wouldn't complicate it so much from the very beginning. I would just choose the best simple path to every single tool, feature, or system, and then I would complicate it if the customer requires so. But it's not always the case. So what was very needed for me wasn't asked by the customer. So that was a big mistake we did, I believe.
This is super common, but yeah, I'm happy that it still worked and now you're simplifying it. And are you using any frameworks, common frameworks like LangChain or things like that? Or you build the full logic from scratch?
We are building it from scratch. I tried LangChain back in the time. I didn't quite liked it. I think it was overcomplicating things as well. It's too complex for what I wanted. So, and it also limited in some way the way I wanted to scale. So I just building it from scratch. We use all the systems for example, our blog is automated by Creo AI agents. For example, we use Creo AI for that, but not for the main agents. We just build them from scratch with foundational models in our systems.
So you are not using other models. I mean, you're using your own models.
We are using the different model providers out there,
Okay.
uh, but integrated in our own systems and with our own rack system, our own personalized system, prompting system, etc.
So let's switch maybe to the ecosystem now. Is there a trend you think most people are underestimating?
In terms of I think the next big breakthrough is gonna be the infinite memory contextual thing. So like for now, we can't just look for previous context of our lives, for example, but I will have a device in a few years or a few months maybe that just records everything that I listen to, which already exists, those kind of devices. But they don't just work with all the memory. They just do some rack thing. But once the technical advancements enable this kind of new use cases, I will be able to ask that device, what did I say last week? Or what was the last task that I delivered to my co-founder last week? Or those kind of things. So that memory will no longer be a thing in that sense. And I think that's going to be a big breakthrough that people underestimate a lot.
Yeah, and a lot of complexity are going to go away because all the RAG systems that we're building today to try to grab as much information as we can are going to disappear.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So rack will no longer be a thing as well, for example. And then I think that also we were talking behind the cameras also about that AI interacting with the internet, right? So I think that's gonna be a big change as well. Once AI is able to interact with our different environments. Let it be the internet, let it be just the physical works through robotics in this case, because it has already the ability and the knowledge to do whatever it wants, but it doesn't have yet the ability to interact, to get some feedback from the world, and those kind of things. And I think that once we implement AI in different devices, that will change a lot on how we perceive value from it. So that's going to be a big breakthrough as well in the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I think it's already starting. There are
Good.
robotic companies raising billions.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. And one of the bottlenecks here is a robot, for example, if they need to start from scratch learning, they don't have enough time, to fall and learn. So they still need to be connected to the internet or whatever to work. But yeah, this is going to be interesting when a robot on its own can start learning without any connection.
Yeah, I've read also something about, I think it was NVIDIA chips. It's more like quantum chips that enable robots to learn in quantum time, in a quantum space. So they just learned, it was like a 4 year learning period reduced into 4 minutes or something like that. So robots could learn super fast in comparison to what we can in our physical world.
That's amazing. All right. If you need to define success, what is success for you?
Personally,
Yeah.
personally, I could say that success means working on something that you've chosen with people that you've chosen. So you're not you're not tied to working in something that you don't like or you don't find value at, or maybe you are not the best at. So choosing what I want to do in every single moment when I can choose, and working with people I enjoy working with, I think that's the best definition for success for me. So it's just like being free to choose where to work, where not to work, and when to work as well.
Which is not always easy.
Definitely not.
I know so many founders that due to financial pressure, they need to run, get a job. It
Yeah, I
happens all
mean,
the time.
happens a lot. And that's why success is not something that you are born with, and it's very difficult to achieve. You need to have also some financial like stability in some sense, and you need to have worked for some time until you get that. But that's the goal.
Yeah. I always ask the question, if you can speak with your 22 years old self and give an advice, what could you tell? But you are so young. How old are you?
And 20.
You're 20. Okay. So this question doesn't apply. So if you can give an advice to a 16 years old you, what would
Yeah.
you say?
Um, I would say to learn and to believe that their curiosity is the best tool they have to grow. Like you need to build publicly as well. I love that trend of building public, for example, when you are continuously learning a lot very fast and you are showing the world what you are learning and what you are building. I think that's the fastest way to grow and to get to where you're gonna be. So curiosity for me should be your driving point. That's what they say. Don't take curiosity like a bad thing and just shut up. It's better to embrace it and learn. Don't be afraid to try everything you want to try, build things, fail, succeed. Just keep going every single time.
Yeah. There is something you said that I think it's becoming more and more important now with AI, that everything can be faked, right? Like everybody can write perfect English or perfect any language. We had this conversation before. I think having social presence, like you mentioned, is super important. And this is actually one of the reasons I started this project, because when you see people writing on LinkedIn or articles, newsletter, whatever, you never know how they really are. And
Yeah.
having a casual conversation like this one, I think is going to get more and more value in the future.
Yeah, I mean, it's good what we want to hear as well. I want to listen to people being natural, being themselves, and just telling the truth with no restrictions. So I think that's going to be very valuable in the future. I couldn't agree more with that point. And I'm more and more interested in that kind of natural, organic content rather than just super well engineered posts or those kind of things.
In the past, the super perfect polished content was the best, the top.
Yeah.
And now this is changing.
Yeah, it's probably the most viral things right now are very natural. And it's more like people just feel engaged with that and they will like it and repost it. And we don't like those kind of just plain flat content.
Yeah, fully agree. All right. So if you can send a message to your customers or potential customers, what message would you send?
I would ask them why they haven't adopted AI in a massive way yet. What's the biggest problem? What's the bigger bottleneck for that? Because it's probably that they just don't feel that AI is well tuned for them. AI is not for them and AI can't help them. That's the biggest complaint that we usually find. And I would tell them just to try the platform, which is tailored for them, which is prepared for them, that should understand their needs and should just be ready to use for them at the first time. So that's it. Just try to adopt it. If you don't find value in it, then that's okay. You can move on. But that's very not the most popular thing and not the most usual thing from my experience.
Yeah, I think that people that don't adopt AI, they will have an unfair disadvantage against the ones that adopt AI. And, I had a chat in a previous episode with a founder. He's like 50 something years old. He's worked for Google, different multinational companies, and now he's implementing AI for big corporate. And he said something that stayed with me. And he was sending a message to entrepreneurs that are 50 years old. And basically, the message was, if you're 50 and you have a business, AI is not something that is optional for you,
Yeah.
It's not something that your kids are going to do. It's something that if you don't do, you're going to be unemployed in a few years, right? So I think this is right. This is happening and fast.
Yeah, I think so far it's been like an advantage for those who have embraced it. But from now on, it will also start being like if you embrace it, that's okay. That's the bare minimum. And if you don't, you're going to fall behind. So I think tables are going to turn in that sense. And companies need to know that as well.
I think it's comparable with at the end of the 90s, where computers started to get adoption everywhere. The ones not using them, they were out of the market. I think something similar is going to happen in the next years.
Yeah, or maybe more recently, even like 5, 10 years ago, not every company had a website. Now they do. And if you don't have a website, you are clearly behind. Depends also on the sector, of course. But in most of them, if you don't have a website, then you don't exist for your customers. So it's gonna be like kind of the same. It was an advantage 10 years ago, now it's a must. So with AI it will be the same thing, but after 10 years later.
Definitely. And what about fundraising? Are you bootstrapping or not?
For now, we are just bootstrapping with some internal first initial capital. And the idea is to grow a little bit more until we start just knocking investors. So the idea is to grow to have like a loyal customer database. And then we will try to grow faster so that we will need to fundraise. Yes.
I think it's a way to go in today's market.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the fastest you can grow, and also the latest that well, the it's more like the more than you can wait until you start getting into that loop of fundraising, the better for you, I think. So we're trying to just make the most of this time and trying to just let that for later on.
Yeah, I could say it depends on the industry. If you build something like B2C that the time to value is long, you need to
Yeah,
fundraise. And there, it's the opposite. I think you need to fundraise pre nothing with the hype. Because if you wait, metrics are not great at the beginning, you know? So it really depends. But I think the way to go now is B2B. I really believe you're in the right way. And bootstrapping at the beginning, it's what I would do.
yeah, to show that you can get an advantageous deal.
Yeah. And your survival doesn't rely on getting funded because you have a sustainable business and then you're good to fundraise to hyperscale and industrialize, which is different,
Exactly. Exactly. The goal is to grow faster, not just to keep getting money to survive.
Exactly. All right. Now a personal question. What is your superpower as a founder?
I would say my background and profile. Like I'm technical from a background perspective, but I've also had always like a business mind. So that mix, I think is super important. It's gonna be more and more important in my opinion for solo founders especially, but for anyone in general. So if you can mix that business mind that wants to build a feature with that technical perspective, when you can evaluate how technically difficult it's going to be to build that and the systems that need to be coordinated so that that works, that's super important. I think that's going to be a superpower for every single founder that can combine the best of both worlds.
This is hard to find. Usually super technical people, usually they don't like a lot
Yeah,
business. The business side is boring
yeah,
and the other way around. So, but
yeah.
yeah, I
But I
agree with
also
you.
think, yeah, absolutely. But I also think that that's shifting already and that's changing. And technical founders will also need to adapt that part and will also have that business touch and that business feel. We'll also need to feel that in the future because when you are just a developer, for example, AI can do a lot of your work, not everything of course, but will do a lot of your work and you're gonna be able to iterate a lot faster. So you'll need to also provide some extra value in that sense. So I think that being more like a product manager, the product manager role will become the standard for a developer, for example.
Yeah. I see this happening already. I see that the product roles are growing a lot now
Mm.
because they can do more things.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the old fashioned developer that was just getting everything specified and translating to code, this
Yeah.
already disappearing.
Yeah.
So I think the future are going to be like 360 engineers, the ones that
Yeah.
understand uh, the real business needs, understand the infrastructure part of things, because the code it's already being generated automatically.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's not like they will be business people, but they will need to understand business people. So to work together and to have a better communication in that sense, we will be looking for more 360 engineers, as you said.
Okay, so is there something else that you want to speak in this interview?
Probably about our roadmap, I would like to know your opinion on AI wearables. Where are we heading in that sense? Are we getting just something here that will be super powered with AI and everything, and we will have just our Meta Ray-Ban glasses that will do everything for us? Or what will be like the next device? Because computers, I assume, will no longer be a thing in lots of years, maybe, but no longer be a thing. That will no longer be the standard way of interacting with technology. So I'm very interested in that, and I would like to know your opinion.
Think that now there is a technical bottleneck on the wearables, and this is about speed. Because if you look at AI, if you need to process something complex, it takes a few seconds. If you're working, that's totally fine. Or you launch a deep research with Perplexity or Notion AI, it can take from 2 to 20 minutes, whatever. That's totally fine. But in real life, imagine that you have glasses or hearing aids that are context aware.
Hmm.
In life, things go fast, and if you don't have real time aid or feedback, it's not useful.
It's
So,
true. It's true. I mean, loading times will probably just lower exponentially. So we'll get there. But it's true. I hadn't really noticed that as the main bottleneck, but it really makes a lot of sense. And on why wearables are not there yet, right? Yeah, it makes sense.
but I think glasses, they already exist.
Yeah.
People are using them for fun, but I think the real use cases, they are not here yet. And I think it's a problem of speed. It's like, for example, smartwatches at the beginning, they were not super useful, but now they are because they can track a lot of different things. So imagine smart glasses that are really aware of the surroundings, and they can give you real time feedback or
Yeah, and
context.
interaction. Yeah. 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 I don't feel like they are a working tool yet. They're more like a fun tool, as you said. But they will probably get there in a few months, probably in that sense. And they're gonna be like the next interacting device, in my opinion.
For example, something that probably actually it exists already. I tried the Meta glasses and
Hmm.
I spoke with somebody, and it translates more or less real time. It's not real time. I think there is a fine line. If it's few seconds delay, it's not useful
Yeah.
anymore. But imagine that glasses that give you subtitles, because when you're listening two languages at the same time, it's not useful. But subtitles, and you can speak and translate real time. So that could be amazing. You could have a fluent conversation with somebody
Yeah.
in a completely different language. These kind of things are going to be great.
Yeah. I'm also very looking forward to those kind of things where AI gets where are like the human limits and those kind of things, which I think will be just the limitations will be what you can think about and where your imagination can get. So just that.
Then I don't think it's only wearables. I think it's robots. I think
Yeah.
robots like generic purpose. Like this is similar to computers. Well, you don't remember. I was not born. The first computer were purpose specific. You had a company and you had to do the accounting. So you were hiring a company to build a specific computer to solve this problem, right? And then I think the first one was MS DOS, well, the predecessor of Windows,
Mhm.
and it was generic for generic purposes. So you could program and reuse that computer for generic problems, specific problems, but using the same thing. And then a lot of ideas came, the .com revolution, internet and everything. And with AI, I think it's going to be similar. Today, we are buying robots to clean the floor. We are buying robots to cook, robots for different purposes. But imagine these Tesla robots.
Hmm.
They are smart enough.
Yeah.
You could program the robot to do anything. And
Yeah.
I think this is probably going to be the next revolution more than wearables. But yeah, maybe it's not going to happen in the next 5 or 10 years.
Well, I can see having a like a house purpose robots in 5 years. I can see. I
I
think we can
could
get there
definitely,
fast.
I could definitely buy that one.
I will do as well. Yeah.
All right, and you, because do you have any idea of specific wearables or where we're going?
I think that mind reading ones are like the biggest expectation for me. It's also dangerous, I think. Like depends on what's the goal. Are we wanting the device to read everything that's gonna go through our mind, or just our because I have found different devices, and one of them tried to just translate what I want to say. So if I want to say it it's gonna translate it. But if I'm just thinking about it, it doesn't do it. But are you just reading everything and then classifying between thoughts and words, or are you only reading words? So that's, I think, a fine line as well. The mind reading devices, I think, it's gonna be like a big breakthrough as well, also for people that can't express maybe what they want or even can talk. So those people will be very benefited with those new technologies.
And who do you think is a pioneer there? Is Neuralink?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think that devices that don't need to be like implanted and don't need to go inside, but just read from the outside are gonna get better and are gonna get adoption first. I think they are more friendly with how we are as humans. And I think that's lots of companies are in that space. Human, I think, was one of them, and that started early. But we'll see who gets there first. I think that devices that are not invasive in that sense are gonna be the first to be adopted by us.
Yeah, yeah, we can agree on that. Because this is a really interesting topic, and I read a lot about it. And the reason why Neuralink is implanting is to have
Hmm.
more throughput,
Okay.
so that they it goes faster.
Okay.
Because the other ones they catch signals,
Hmm.
but Neuralink is like wired. It's like a wire connection versus wireless. It's kind of similar thing.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe it's even better. But I think that from the user perspective, it's gonna
Yeah,
feel like harder to buy that. And am I just sharing my brain connections with this device? It's gonna be more difficult to understand and to accept that as a user.
that's
So
why
maybe it will come later on.
they're starting with people with disabilities that
Yeah.
couldn't hear or couldn't see, and now they can. So
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah. 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 Definitely.
All right, so I think we discussed a lot about the what's coming, about what entrepreneurship demands, pros and cons. So thanks a lot. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Same. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.